Welcome to Ancient Wisdom of the Feminine. I am Srishti Yadav, and I'm here today with Magdala Ramirez in continuation with our Golden Era series. A little bit about Magdala Ramirez. She's a spiritual leader and healer from the Maya Mexica lineage. She was born as a medicine woman from a long lineage of medicine people in Mexico, where she began walking her path at an early age, working with medicine people and pyramids of Mexico. She brings the ancient knowledge to the world through original seminars, books, ceremonies, and journeys. Her purpose in life is to bring back ancient wisdom of union of polarities, and through this wisdom she helps to bring back the perfect balance of male and female. She has an online school of enlightenment that can be found at her website, and we are so honored.
I know what it is, the conversations going on. You're able to perceive a different language, that language of love that it has always been there. And that's the language between you and the tree, between you and the birds, between you and the stars, the cosmos, and how everything it is completely in communication with you. Silencing your mind is just way too important so you are able to listen. That listening comes in a way of vibration, like all communication. Yet it is up to you to translate it in a way that you can. And that translation is going to be based on your frequency range. In that moment when you're able to understand that beautiful language, you're creating another center. In that other center, you have much more perception and much more freedom of who you are. Of course, there's many more, many more centers, but if you begin to just work with those two and how those two are together and connected, it is very similar, like using this analogy, like a building where it has many floors and there is an elevator. And in every floor you perceive very different. It's a completely different set. It's a completely different laws. And yet they are all interconnected with that elevator that we can put this as an analogy. All that elevator, it is right there inside of you. And you have the ability to find that elevator in a regular basis, sometimes as in the middle of a seconds, at the moment that you stop your chattering mind by observing your breathing and bringing the presence of your own presence. There you go. In that moment, you are in that elevator. So there are different realities happening at the same time, and yet they are all connected one to each other. That is, we can use this precept of the mother. The one is contained in the whole, and the whole is contained in the one. How do we move then for that parts of the self that it is so programmed to just continue perpetuating the patriarchal system or perpetuating the same thing over and over and over again for you, and tapping into a higher reality within your own self when you are able to see and recognize the sacred moment that you make a choice. Means that choice is when you identify with one reality. It's a moment of choice. You're choosing to follow something. You're choosing to go in that car that it was passing by and identify with it, with that thought. That thought that most of the times you know where it is taking you. because you have thought this before. We want to expand our little neuro-network inside of yourself and be able to conceive different ideas, different understandings of who you are and what you are. A higher reality, a higher understanding. The other reality, the one that it is not in your regular basic. And now you have become that understanding. If you listen in just in the system, when you listen somebody talking, there is a different layers of what they are trying to communicate with you. When it comes into a language, it's very, very limited. But if you listen for real and stop thinking and truly listen, you will see the many layers of what they are trying to tell you for real. And if it is really a person just in front of you, everything is communicating with you. Their bodies, the many other layers. So what it is verbally is only maybe 5%. And you think that that is literally what they are saying. And there is other stories behind all this. And that is what you can do when you tap into this part of yourself, that being able to stop the chattering and feel, listen, see all the senses at the same time. It truly creates a whole new story. And to truly know the person in front of you, because you are able to know the person inside of you. Whether she really wants, whether she really desires or not. Or even the fears or anything that it is happening in that emotional body, you can see it without the attachment. And that creates a big, big difference for you. When you practice this and practice and practice and stay present for the whole day, it really creates a whole new understanding of what is truly going on all around you, not just in that literally concept of that linear time that the mind was being programmed by the system to only assist. There is a story behind of every story that you're seeing. And that story behind is what we call the other reality. And you have access to it. When you make your practices of just silence your mind, even if it is 15 minutes a day, even if it is a little time, it doesn't matter. It really holds you in that presence of your own presence. That it is your original signature, your original vibration. That's the elevator. That's the one that it can choose to truly align with this one, the one that created you. And it is based on love. It is based on that understanding of love as an eternity. That love that you have always been, that it is completely eternal. You see, the normal reality, I wanted to put it normal, but I'm putting quotes in it because it is really not normal for a human being of just being that linear time. Taking the thing so completely literal, observing the attachments and actually identifying with the attachments. It truly creates only that perpetuation of that patriarchal system, and it is completely ephemeral. It's gonna decay. Everything decays in that realm. Everything is gonna come into an end. Everything, it is bonded into this Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. But when you tap into that other reality, you can see that the Alpha and the Omega, you see the beginning and end, it is all happening at the same time. There is no difference. For it is that eternity that you're talking about. And as you go more higher, as I was telling you, it is not just two realms happening. It is many, many, many other realms happening at the same time. But vibrating into a different reality over and over again and seeing those messages is just way too important to comprehend. Our ancestors, they speak in metaphors. Everything was that metaphor, the story that it is behind the story, that it is behind the story, that it is behind the story. There is this writings for the Spanish people, the ones who come from Spain, and they say, we speak fluent now and we don't know what they're talking about. That is the big difference, because life is that. It is that metaphor. And everything around you is that metaphor, and it is you as life, the one that it is able to decode it. And also understand the messages that you're truly putting right there in front of other people. How can you understand that manifestation of that eternal love to your loved ones? It has to do with that non-attachment. It has to do with that freedom, a freedom that you have always been. And it might be that there are people is always different than you, and it is just that perception of reality, and yet everyone is bonded into one. It's just that aspect of yourself that you're dealing with. Connecting with that other reality, it is understanding.
To continue listening to this episode, please visit ancientwisdomofthefeminine.podbean.com and subscribe to our premium content. Thank you.